Hello, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross-stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown into. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know more about you and what you like to stitch. This week is a regular Flosstube video, so if you tuned in last Friday, you got a little bit of an extra video, but normally every Friday, unless I have some conflict, which doesn't, I try not to schedule things on Friday mornings, or I'm away, which is what the case was last week. That's the only time I generally don't film. Otherwise, I am raring to go on Friday morning and get a chance to talk to all of you. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to know what's going on with you. What's October looking like? What are you stitching? Are you joining along in the pumpkin birthday stitch along? All of that good stuff. For all of my stitchy friends that are in all the states that were affected by the hurricane last week, I am thinking about you, and I am hoping that you are okay, have your power back, and all of your loved ones are okay as well. But I am thinking about you. So because I didn't film for 2 weeks, we have a lot to talk about this week. Normally I have about, 12 projects or so. I knew I made an effort not to do 12 in each week because we'd be having I'd say a mini whip parade, a very mini whip parade, because I have a lot of projects, way more than 24. So what I tried to do was I added some extra stitches into some of the pieces that had come out the first week. And then there were certain things for challenges and different things that I brought out. So we have, I think it's 16 projects today, but not too bad for 2 weeks. I feel like I kind of held myself to a good amount, but lots of talking today. So I hope you have your projects, and maybe I have my cup of tea. I have my white ginger peach this morning. Oh, yep, it's not so hot anymore. And grab whatever you need, and let's just jump right in. Before I show you my stitching, I do want to talk about, so the last couple weeks I had started something new about floss tubers and doing them by state, because I had discovered some in Delaware, which is where I live. I live in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, if you're new. And I thought it was kind of fun to find different floss tubers that were in my state, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to kind of do that by state? So last video we did Texas, and thank you very much if you were a floss tuber and you put a comment about your channel on those comments. And I think I had some other comments of people that had mentioned people that I hadn't originally listed. So in the video I do have a little section in the description box that is the floss tubers by state, so that one would be Texas. And I have added the ones that I had received. I think I got them all. You know, sometimes you're going through comments and your eyes just don't see everything. So if I missed somebody, please let me know. Or if you start one and you're from the state that's already been mentioned, feel free to let me know and I can add it to that list. I'm thinking at some point I might try to put something in the files of my Facebook page once I have, because I'm just keeping like a Word document. So we'll see. But that was where we talked about Texas. This week, I spun my little, I go online. I don't have the apps for it. I just went online, found a U.S. state little wheel thing. I spun it. And this week we got Indiana. So I asked on my Facebook page, who did we have that was a floss tuber from Indiana? And I got 8. I'm showing you 10. I got 8 different floss tubers who came up. So let me do a quick list of them. And again, if you are a floss tuber in Indiana and I don't mention you, please let me know. Or if you know of somebody else, because I don't know about some of you, but I watch, and sometimes I'm particularly clueless. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm sharp, and then other times I'm like, everything just goes over my head. And so sometimes I probably know where somebody is, but it doesn't register when I'm trying to put everything together. So I may know you're from a specific state and then completely forget. So that's why it's so much fun to have my Facebook friends, and then you as well on YouTube if you're not part of Facebook, to help me out here. I believe all of these, I didn't go and I don't fact check in the sense of I'm not going to stalk people and find out if this is the state you live in. So if you've moved, or if I have it wrong and I mention you, please let me know. But the ones that were listed was Audrey Marine, I think is how she says her name, and Stitch Bead is her channel. as well. Candace K. Now, I guess there's two Candaces. This is Candace with a C, Candace K. 14 Count Ada Girl, Jamie Cruz, Janet Jabber, Lindy Stitches, Two Tall Stitchers, and Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher. So I will link their channels down below in the description box. And like I said, if there are more, please let me know, because I would love to make sure that you are given credit for being a floss tuber in your state. So that's that one. Alrighty, so I feel like I need to be all business, like, which is not me, because you know I start to just talk and talk and talk because there's so much here. So I'm almost afraid I'm going to knock something over and then we're just going to have a huge mess. Let's dive right into the stitching. Alrighty, the first thing I was doing, so it's been so long since I've talked to you. I think my last video was, I'm looking at my calendar, the 20th of September. So AB Single, which is a game that's played in September in the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group, was still going on. We still had several days. Those were the first things I'm going to show you, is what I finished through AB Single. And this one was for the letter V. It's V is for Valentine, and it's from Heartstring Samplery. Now, I did change the colors. This is charted in, let me see here, Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works. And then there is a DMC alternative, but I wasn't 100% jazzed by the DMC options. So I did kind of, you know how sometimes when it's a little prim for me, and it doesn't look it here, but the colors in the DMC were translating a little bit, I like jazz it up a little bit. We call it jazzy prim. So that's what I did here. And what I will do is I will just list the colors in the description box under that I used for this, but I won't say like for like. I mean, it's not going to be that hard to tell. There's a red, there's a pink, there's a silver, there's a green, and a blue. So, I mean, it's just different alternatives of those type of things. So you'll be able to figure it out if you like my changes, but there's plenty of other options here too that are quite lovely. Here I am so far. I actually I brought some projects up to New York with me, and this was one, and it didn't get a ton of time. So it got extra though from when I worked on it for AB Single, and I'm getting so close. I have some little flowers over here, but all the big flowers are done. There's three little flowers. The greenery for them is all done. I think all the greenery, all the greenery is done. And there's 3 little flower heads that need to be done. The words are all done. I did all of that. And then the only other thing I'll have to do after the flowers is the big kind of basket area right there. This is done on an 18 count vintage country mocha. So just kind of your traditional sort of neutral. I thought these colors really popped nicely on that. So I did end up keeping that and going with that as an option. So much fun. I really, really enjoy this one. I remember seeing this one on Mary's Stitching Corner. Let me link Mary. And it was so, so beautiful. You know how the pictures, they look pretty a lot of times, but sometimes it just doesn't quite do it the justice until you see it stitched. That's a lot of people say that with models in the needlework stores. Well, on Mary's channel, when she had showed this, it was just so gorgeous. It sold me type of thing. And so now I am happy to be able to be stitching it as well. And yeah, this could easily be a finish at the end of this year. And I think I'm going to try to find challenge prompts. So we're October. We have 3 months to go of challenges. I think it could easily be done. I'd like to see this one as a finish and take it off of the whip list for 2025. And then what would I do with this one? Probably scrapbook it. Either that or just make it a leaner. It could go out on my shelves here for Valentine's, but we'll see. I already have another Valentine's that's in the scrapbook, so I could just add this one as well if I wanted to. We will see. So that's the first one. That was the letter V. Then the next day was the letter S. And I've been wanting to pull this one out. I really do want to get It's not going to get a finish, but I want to get a specific goal finish by the end of this year. So let me go to my pictures. And let's see, it's near the top because I started this one, I think in 2021, if I remember correctly. This one is called Samhain in Salem, and it is from Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, which is Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. That's her design company. And she has the different seasons in different places. I did the Nantucket, and my goal was I would love to do all 4 seasons. I'm just really slow with them. There's a lot of house to these. They're beautiful and they're fun, but there's a lot of house. So this is where I'm at the moment. This house was finished quite some time ago. I don't know if it, probably last year, to be honest with you. So I'm going to fold that over for now. And this is the house that I'm trying to get finished. My goal is to have this house finished by the end of 2024. And I could do it. There's a few like different pumpkin-y things down at the bottom, and then there's a wreath in the door. But otherwise, everything else really is not, there's not much to it. So, well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of stitching, but there's a lot of this kind of the maroonish color, and then all of the windows have the same kind of gray. I don't know if the door is the same as the windows inside. There's a lot of block stitching, I should say. I've gotten all of the windows, and I think I've got the door frame done as well because there's pumpkins here. This is an 18 count. It's old library marble from Dovestitch, so you can see it's a printed. I just thought this one was kind of fun. I could easily see it on a gray if you wanted a spooky look, but I just kind of went with this one. I can't give you the exact reason I thought I'd pull it out, but I did. The other thing is I'm not going to put the words. So Julie has charted either Samhain in Salem, or I think she also has Halloween in Salem. And then she's got this really cool fence. I think I'd like to do the fence all the way across. I did end up cutting my fabric a little bit tight. So these two are a little bit closer than charted. And then the house here will be whatever the distance here, I'll count that. So that it's going to be not quite as wide as it's charted. So again, I would have had to finagle it anyway, because if I was doing the words, that would change up the fencing anyway. I'm going to do some math and plot it all out and see. I debated on trying to figure out how to do like a little gate in the middle, but I think I'm just going to do the fence all the way across. I'm not quite that talented in changing things. So you will see this more, the long and the short of it, this year. And I think if I can get this house done, then I'll put it away. And I don't know if I would try to do, say, 2/3 of the blue house in 2025 and then try to aim for finish in 2026. Because I don't know how Julie did it when she did her model stitches for it. Those houses are so much stitching, and I love them when they're done, but whew, there's a lot of stitching. Alrighty, next was the letter M. So I pulled out for Modern Folk Embroidery, I pulled out my peacock tree. I had started this, a few weeks ago? Well, probably a month ago now, because it's been 2 weeks since I saw you last. And I decided I just wanted to add some more to it. It's so pretty. I am using a Stitchy Stuff Co. Let me pull out so I can show you. Floss, and it's called Kingfisher. And I'm using 18 count Lovely Lizzie from Those Missing Stitches, which is so beautiful. I kind of, for some reason, I felt like a peachy vibe really was calling to me. And so that's why I pulled this out. And this is the floss that I'm using. And that's what we have so far. I had mentioned this before. The border is very relaxing. And so if you just want something and maybe you're on a Zoom, or maybe you're watching something or listening to a book or a podcast or whatever it happens to be, it's good kind of Zen stitching. And then I think I did add a little bit more here because I'd like to, I am not a border all the way around kind of person. I'm a border, make sure I'm okay with the inner, do some more inner or border and go back and forth. And so they kind of, I count off one off the other to kind of always give myself checks and balances. Now, I was looking at this fabric, and let me see. I'm wondering, remember this one right here? I talked about this in my video, the Autumn Dream. I'm going to have plenty of fabric. I wonder how that would look. What do you think? I think that would look pretty. I'll do a floss toss on it. But I was thinking something along those colors and something peachy. So this definitely might end up, you might seeing some more of this color fabric being stitched. I love when you have, when Lynn gives nice big pieces. They're, what size are they? 18 by 29. So you get a lot of good fabric for multiple pieces, unless you're doing a giant piece. But then it's a great size if you are doing a giant piece as well. 18 count 8 if I didn't say. So that one was for the letter M. And then, oops, put that back in here so I don't lose that. What was next? Ooh, we got to flip over. The next letter was R. And well, wait a minute. No, I have an extra one. The next letter was D, because the project I'm supposed to have here was not the one showing. So I actually chose, I'm thinking this is a dolphin here. Go this way. And so I did the letter D, dolphin, and this is the shores of Hawk-Run Hollow. I'm not doing the entire shores of Hawk-Run Hollow as is. I'm doing the middle block and then 4 others. So 5 blocks, but one of them, it's basically 6 blocks because the middle is double. And I was inspired by the model showing in the picture. So I did end up going with a color that is, I mean, I don't know what's used in the called for, but this is 18 count pale ale and it's from Dying for Cross Stitch. There is a hashtag for this, is a stitch along. It's hashtag shores HRH 2024 Sal. And except for the mouth, my son is done. All my words are done. I did a little bit down here, I think, of the rocks. And then I had some more, I wanted to do a little bit more. So I did some of the kind of the caps of the waves. I think I got it all of the white done. So you can see here, the waves are kind of have those white caps. And then I'll start doing the different colors underneath. This bottom here is all basically full coverage. But you know me, that doesn't bother me. I am not going to fill in the box there. I'm going to keep it as is. Now, of the blocks I'm doing, some of the other ones do have words. I don't believe I'm adding any other words. I just thought it would be nice to kick this one off and with the lighthouse with the words. So that's where it is. And this one probably will come out for various challenges. I know that the Stitch Along started, it's part of a leap year Stitch Along. So you basically work on it for 4 years. And that's being run by Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher. I'm going to write down Nancy's name. If you'd like to, I'll link her down below. And she basically had a whole explanation of it and how everything is basically chopped up so that if you keep up with the way she has it chopped up in 4 years' time, by next leap day, you should have a finish on that piece. And those pieces are huge. So that's a great way to tackle it. I'm kind of just moseying along, doing it however it happens to come to me. Because that feels like how I spend my life sometimes. Okay, next. All right, so the next one was the letter R. And where is, oh, you know, I'll show a picture because it's from the 2024 Cross Stitch Halloween, Just Cross Stitch magazine, the Halloween issue. And part of the chart is there with it. So let me show you the picture on its own. And it was the Nevermore Raven. Now on this one, you're going to see, I chose not to stitch the word Nevermore. So that's basically what mine, you know, the design of mine is going to look like. I was inspired by the fabric choice, although I did change it up in the sense that I went a little bit grayer. There's, to the eye, looks a little bit bluer to me. And this is charted by Quarternian Creations. And yeah, Rue Green casual linen is actually, which is funny because I don't even see that in the picture at all, but you know how pictures can show things a little different. I also did change the color of the moon, and I ended up, thank you so much for everybody's opinions. I had two different yellows, one that was bright and vibrant and one that was a little bit more, this one, it's lemony. And I ended up going with this one because I did want the moon to kind of take a back seat to the raven. So that's what it looks like. And I'm going to show you what I ended up using. I had never used this before. This is Silk Lame, Petite Silk Lame braid, and the name is called Lemon. And so there is sparkle to it. I'm not sure the camera's going to pick it up. It's funny, when I was stitching on this and the sun was shining, it was definitely picking up all the sparkles. But that's what it looks, that's the one. Actually, let me do this to show you. That's what it looks like. It's one-stranded. I never know how to use any of these. I just look at the top, and it did say for light coverage on 18 count. And so I always look to see what they say about the counts. And I think it's pretty good coverage, to be honest with you, because this is an 18 count scrap. I don't really know anything more about it besides that. Plus, if that was a little lighter than my Raven, that was okay too, because I didn't necessarily want it to be the focus. So I think I'm gonna make this one into a larger sized ornament. It'll be probably not quite as big as my cat and pumpkin, but it'll be along the lines of that size. So that'll be fun. I think that's what I'm gonna do with that one. We'll see, maybe. I don't know if you'll see it full finished next week, but it would be nice to get that fully finished this month and have it hanging for a little bit. So that is done. Alrighty, so that was my first finish. And ironically, I didn't even realize this when I was looking at putting my projects together. It was only when I was writing them out that I realized, oh, I have both my finishes next to each other. Now this next one, I don't know if I took a picture of it. Gosh. I don't think I did. This was from Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher magazine. I do have the printed front page of it. So I'll show you that. The original was there, right there. It's called Be Thankful, and it is from Crocette Gogo. This was, does the front of the magazine say, this was the 2023 fall. So I don't know if this one is available at this point from Crocette Gogo. I thought it was super cute, but to be honest with you, it was a little busy for me. And I just felt like all that extra border, I just wouldn't enjoy stitching. But I loved the turkey. So the turkey it was. And that's why I have a finish of it. Isn't that cute? There he is, the turkey with the little bird on his hat. This is 18 count. I don't know the exact name of it. I don't know if they call it oatmeal or rustico or what they call it. I was sent some from a very lovely stitchy friend, and I have to say thank you, because I didn't realize how much I enjoyed this fabric. I really like the looks of it. I purposely did try to do it so the lines were this way rather than, they do have lines going in one direction or the other. I just kind of liked it this way, and I like the feel of it. I stitch in hand. I really liked that, and I feel like I could use it for a lot of things. So I am super excited. It was a double gift, because not only did I get some fabric to try, but I also realized how much I really enjoyed that said fabric. And so now I have a new thing that I really like stitching on. And so yeah, so that one's done. This one I stitched on, I think I worked on this on the way up. Yes, it took us about 5 hours to get to Woodstock. And so this was my car stitch. And I had it almost finished from the car stitch. I think I had just a few little things to do, and I waited till I got home to finish it up at that point. We did see some turkeys at the sanctuary, although they were kind of hidden. They were shy, I guess. So that is my turkey. This one, clearly I'd make it into a little ornament, I think, and hang it from my little hangers. I have a few different things. I do have a leaner that's about this size of a prairie schooler turkey, but I think this one's so different that I think I'd make this one more of an ornament versus have that one, because the colors are different, the vibe is different. I mean, it's a prairie schooler, you know that. two different vibes. So I'm super excited to have that one finished. So that's another one that could be fully finished this year. We're still about 22 off from my 55 full finishes. This is usually what the turkey would go with. This was something I stitched before I started Flosstube, so I'm not 100% sure. I think it came from like a Magic Country stitch, to be honest with you. I think I stitched this and had it before I even did Flosstube. So this one kind of straddles the whole autumn into Thanksgiving kind of idea. So the turkey and this can go right next to each other. And those two, the vibes and the colors go a little bit more. And then that one's a little bit kind of brighter and peppier. So that one would be an ornament. Alrighty, what's next here? Oh, I need to show you it's a digital. So let me pull out my things here. And let me find it. Here it is. The last week, so not this past week that we've had, but the week that was leading up to our trip, my stitch of the week of my 4 focus pieces for each month was this one. And so it needed to get 500 stitches in it. And I think I got like 495. And I think I kind of called it a day. I'm only in one block. You see this? This thing, I did over 500, well, no, almost 500 stitches in it. It had been started already, and it's still not done. They're lovely, but their blocks are so big. Now, I did do a fairly substantial color change on this for the floss. I just felt for spring, I wanted to do something a little bit more like renewal kind of idea. You know, when spring comes, all of the leaves come back and everything is green and gorgeous rather than brown. And so I went with greens, and I have a few different shades of greens. So that's what it looks like as a whole. This is 18 count rose hips from Under the Sea Fabrics. And if I come up, just fold this over, that's the piece that I worked on right there. So we have a little bit left. I probably will just get that done next time, just to say I can get it done, and then I'll move on to some of the other pieces here. I am currently, I think, just going to do the whole outer border first and then do the inside. I have to look at the colors because the basket on the inside, I would probably keep the browns. So those are probably some of the called fors already. So I have to pull those back out and then figure out the houses if those colors work on this. I might be sitting down and kind of reevaluating the whole kind of color scheme once the outer edges are all done and I tackle the inside. So that's where we are. So this one will go away now well, normally it wouldn't be for, well, it'd be 3 weeks from now, right? Because we've already gotten to a following week, but it might actually be a week earlier than that, and I'll talk about that when I've gotten to my October stitching. I'm not quite there yet. That was the letter L so that was Lila's Studio, Spring Quaker, and that finished AB Single, and I did end up, super excited, where is it? I did end up with a blackout on my bingo board and all bingos. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. And then, and I liked doing, I think only once I accidentally repeated a project. So I did 24 different projects on those, which is great because I really like that in the sense of I touched, maybe a quarter of my projects, and then I did other things during the month. So I touched even more of my projects as opposed to kind of pulling whenever I want. And we have a tendency sometimes to pull a lot of the same things, right? Now all right, come on, there we go. For September, I also do a full coverage kind of focus of the month. And I do that for the entire month. And for the month of September, I chose to work on, this is Laszlo Code number 1. The artwork is by Laszlo Code, and the company that charted it is Stitches So Beautiful. Stitches So Beautiful is on Etsy, but also has their own standalone. And I would recommend also getting their newsletters because they do have sometimes different things on sale, or they have a designer of the month that they do put on sale and things like that as well. And it's fun to see. So this one is a big one. I don't remember, I don't know how many stitches it is total. So let me show you. That's where I finished at the end of the month. You can see I've talked about this. I accidentally did a very incorrect, or no, this was a leftover piece. So I have leftover fabric that I'll cut off at the end afterwards. But that's the full width. I didn't do anything over here, so I'm going to fold this to show you. I love the colors of the periwinkles and the purples and everything else, but I was getting a little tired of them. So I decided to pull out some more colors, and that's what I did. This is an 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross. That's how I do my full coverages. First, you know, I had a little bit of red, so I ended up doing a lot more of the red. I decided there was a space here between these purples, and I looked at the picture. I said, what is that? Oh, it's a tree up there. So I decided to pull out some of the greens. There's a different green here. There's other colors that are the kind of the inside of the roof of the houses. And then when I would do some of these greens, I would do some more of this one. So I probably, what we'll end up doing is kind of working on those all at once. I am not one that has a specific plan with full coverage if you're new. I really love when people do it by page or they do the diagonals. I'm just a pick a color and go with it kind of girl. And that means sometimes there's some open spaces for quite some time, but they'll get filled in eventually. It doesn't bother me. I am using Pattern Keeper, which I have to say has made full coverage. It was a game changer for me for full coverage. And I feel like I'm getting a lot more progress. In fact, this one for the month of, especially because I find at night now, paper patterns are a little bit more difficult, even with lighting on, for me to see when it's dark sometimes, depending on the pattern. And so I find sometimes when it's darker and I'm tired, my eyes, I can do Pattern Keeper, and most of my projects in Pattern Keeper are full coverage. So I focus on whichever one is my focus of the month, and I put in stitches. Now my goal is 100 a day. But, you know, if I'm stitching for a couple hours at night, if I have a little extra time or I'm on a Zoom or whatever the case may be, Mo and I are watching something, whatever, I get more than 100. And in fact, this month I got 5,300, well, 5,388 if you want an exact number, stitches on this in the course of September. And I went from 5.54% to, and you're going to laugh for all my completists, 9.99%. I had already put everything away and all that when I checked the percentages. I know some of you, that would probably drive you nuts. You'd need to get to 10%, but I was just like, you know what? That's just going to be what it is. And that's what it is. So essentially 10%, but you can obviously see how big this piece is if all those stitches are just 10%. But I was really happy with my progress this month, and I do like how that's working. This was because of things like AB Singo and some other stuff. I didn't work on really any other full coverages in the month, which I usually try to. I have my focus, and then I usually also try to do other ones. So other ones took a hit while this one got good. So I do want to kind of, I don't know, it's always a work in progress, right? The way we do these things. I'm not going to commit to how I'm going to do things for 2025. I need to think about it, but I need to make sure I'm touching. I think what I might do is look at what I have for full coverage. I'm getting the itch to start a new one. I know you're shaking your head because I have like 15 of them. But I think I'd like to start another 1 or 2 or whatever, and then really have some that are the focus for that year. Not like one that's the only focus, but try to get good amount of work on certain ones that are really calling to me. And maybe some of the other ones, there's a few I'm going to evaluate. I may either, well, I have 2 that are kind of on that list right now that are kind of on the back burner, may not get back to them. One I know I'm going to change. It's too big an account on the 18 count. So I'm going to put that back, you know, in rotation, that fabric, and restart that at some point on, you know, when I'm feeling more comfortable on higher counts. And then there's another one I don't know if I want to do. So, you know, anyway, that may change, and then we'll see how I can focus from things. This was my next piece. I was finishing up I Spy from September, and this was one of my I Spy pieces. And this is from Vivsters. I had originally started this at the end of January for the hashtag 2024 Quaker Flag Sal. I love seeing everybody's Quakers from all the different countries. And this is mine. I really like this fabric. This is 18 count Brave Boromir and is from Those Missing Stitches. And I got a little nervous thinking, okay, these ones, the white is surrounded by the blue. And I got a little nervous thinking, will the white show up? Because down here you'll have, you know, the row of red Quakers and a row of white Quakers and back and forth. And in person it shows up fine. But I finished this one and then I started another one because I wanted to see what the white would look like on its own. I mean, at this point it is the way it is. I mean, but I was a little nervous, and in person you can see them fine. So I think especially too, they'll be surrounded by red blocks. And so it'll make sense. But I was a little nervous. If I ran out of time, I was hoping to finish this red block and then maybe do some more of the outlines, but I didn't get there. And last time I had shown this, I had talked about how I was watching somebody who had done the whole border, and that was Recovering Book Hoarder. So let me write down so that I know I can link her. And it was such a genius idea because this way you can do any Quaker you want. And these are not, you know, they're not that bad. I think they're like 20, I don't know how many, 22, 24. I don't remember how many stitches they are. And, you know, as you do some, it'll be really easy. You don't even need to count because they'll start to make sense. I thought that was a great idea of hers. So I would like to go in maybe and do some more. So this way I can just pick what I want to do. Like if I had wanted to see how, once I get some red in, how like a white one would look on the stripes. If I had my border in, it would be super easy. So I want to take her inspiration, I think. And at some point, this obviously is not going to be done on the 1-year anniversary, the end of January, but I don't really worry about that. It'll be done when it gets done. Okay, what's next? This one was also for I Spy. I think one of the prompts I did was something you'd see at a wedding. Oh, and thank you so much to all of you who wished me a happy anniversary on my anniversary. I really appreciated it. Mo did too, so thank you. And this was the last time I pulled out September's Morning Glory from Cottage Garden Samplings for this year, unless a prompt really screams at me, which, you know, sometimes they do, and I pull them out on other months, but generally I work on them during their month. And I did really concentrated on the words. I decided that I was going to keep everything this darker brown because you're going to have the colors of the flowers over here. And then you'll have some, you know, the greenery over here. There'll be some cute little squirrels here. So I think the brown, the deeper brown, just the single color brown worked well. This is an 18 count. What is this? I should know. Friendship green. A favorite green of mine because it's an 18 count. It's a very kind of light, subtle green, which I really do like. Fabrics by Stephanie. Not sure I said that. So that's that. That one will, like I said, unless it comes out for a challenge, come out again in 2025. Whew, there's a lot to do on this one. This one is not close to a finish. My goal is to try to get them done by the end of 2025. So that one, September may come and go, and I might have to work on it the rest of the year. My hope is that November and December will get done this year because they were started a year before everything else. If that's the case, hopefully then I might be able to, see a finish of that one and any others that are kind of quite some ways from being finished. On the way home from New York, I pulled this one out. When I do car stitching, I either do monochromatic, which ironically I didn't bring any, which was kind of sort of a surprise for me because I really do like monochromatic, or small pieces. And I could have continued with Valentine, but I wanted to pick out another piece. I brought 4 projects. I worked on 3 out of the 4. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, in the car, there wasn't much to do but stitch. I haven't, a lot of times with these long trips, someone had asked me after we had come back from Connecticut, do I do some of the driving? And I have a tendency, yes, if Mo needs a break, but certainly until I got the go-ahead from the foot doctor, I didn't want to do a lot of driving because the toe that I broke was on my driving foot. And so I've stayed away from doing any driving long. I mean, I can do around little stuff, but so Mo, the brunt of it all went on Mo's shoulders. This is Nobody is Home. And I want to say it is from Stitch Sprout. Let me just double check here. Flip over. Yes, Stitch Sprout. And I was inspired by the model to actually buy the fabric that they called for. And this is 18 count Ectoplasm by Oblong Meow. They're an Etsy shop. And I was hoping to get the house done. But in the car, I did a lot of ghost stitching, to be honest with you. There was quite a bit to do on that. Now, this ghost, all it needs is its eyes. Otherwise, it's completely done. It also had to do some outline. And there was a few different colors involved there. So it was a little bit longer than I thought. Once I got that done, I pulled out, there was 2 different purples. I did what I needed to fill in, I think, this window, and then this purple finishes out the house here. So I had that to do. And then I'm not sure I'm going to do all of the clouds up here. I was trying to pull out this small cloud. The thing is that that's part of something I stitched here. So I need one of those little tail thingies. I was watching Robin from Bird's Eye Stitches. And what did Robin, something tail puller, that she had gotten when she was at retreat. I need one of those because once I pull that, I'm going to have a stray thing. I was looking, I think Amazon has them, so I'll probably pick one up there. But I think I might see, I'm going to just keep the 2, and then there's a big one right here. So I might do that. It's similar to this. I think they mirror each other, but I might keep it and have like a triangle, you know, kind of that triangle idea of the 3 clouds. If it looks a little off, then I'll do the 4th one, but we'll see. So this one, by Halloween, no, I don't see it getting done, but if I could use it for prompts, I might be able to get it done this year. It would be nice not to have it carry over to 2025. If it does, it's getting finished by Halloween next year. No excuses whatsoever. All right, so this was this year's just cross stitch. No, this one was last year's, 2023. Yeah, I showed you for the Raven, that was the Nevermore Raven. That was this year. This was 2023. Just cross stitch. All righty. Moving on. And I think at this point then, I wasn't doing specific games, although at this point now, we've probably moved into I Spy for October and the acrostics and things like that. So where I might have put some of these, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if this one, if I look at my, no, I don't know if this is specifically, I just like stitching this one. This is Sunflower Medley by Jan Hicks Creates. And if you are thinking about it, I have to tell you, it's not huge. So that right there, it would be a smaller stitch. It's so fun to stitch. It is beautiful so far. I'm enjoying it. And I can't recommend it enough. If you were on the fence on this one, I say go for it. And this is where I am. Oh, now these blocks here, they have multiple layers in them. I don't know how many colors. I still have a few more colors to go, but as you can see, there's a lot to those, but I think it's going to look really neat once it's completely done, because I think there's like a checkerboard look to it. I finished the flower completely, started the greenery, worked on getting some of this filled in. I was going to next work on the finish up the words, but I didn't quite get to it. So this is almost the bottom. I would say the bottom will probably be about there. Now this is 18 count. It's 18 count Arial from Picture This Plus. So you can see this is a smaller count, right? As opposed to say a 1428 or a 1632, but it's a really lovely piece. I think I'll probably end up scrapbooking it, but I think it's going to work really nicely probably in an 8.5 by 11, and I could have something nice as a background color. So that's what it looks like. Like I said, I would completely recommend it. I'm a big fan of Jan Hicks' charts, and I really like how her charts are charted and what they look like. So go for it if you're on the fence. Okay, next. What is my October full coverage piece? I have a couple things going in October, I believe. The first thing that I'll try to do 100 stitches a day on is, here it is. This is a retired piece. This is Minnie Watching the World Go By. The artwork is by Lucy Pittaway, and it was charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Now, all of Lucy Pittaway's were retired from Heaven and Earth, and she then created kind of a collaboration with Bothy Threads. I'm almost sure I have seen this one on Bothy Threads, but it is much less detailed. I'm disappointed that they are retired and less detailed because they're just so lovely to stitch. Now this is a mini, and I'm going to show you. This one actually feels pretty manageable. Look at this. That's all the fabric. I think I started this wait a minute, I can tell you what I started in October. The percentage that I started at was 27.5%. It's the 4th today, so I did get some stitching in already this month. I don't know how much though. But that's essentially the start of the month. So we'll see. What's really nice about this one is there is some confetti, but there's blocks of color, and then the confetti kind of travels out, so I can use it. So you're not stitching one stitch here and then one color there and constantly changing. You can pick out a color of thread and get some good stitching in. And I didn't touch this side at all. I thought, this is October. Let's do, it looks like a fall scene with the leaves changing over here and the trees, all the different kind of oranges and reds and yellows. And I thought that would be perfect for October. And I really dug into this side and just worked on greenery. And if I find a color and I pick it, say I've been picking here, then I go back up here, fill in some spots, and then kind of go back and forth. There's been time, so I want to say Wednesday night, I think I only worked on one color, but there's enough spots. I think it was this green right here. There's enough spots in some of these things right now that I can pick one color and do my stitching for the night with just that one color and not have to worry about changing. Again, 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1. So you will see that every floss tube in the month of October. Alrighty, we're almost there. 3 more to go. The next one is what my 4-piece focus for this week was. It was Fish and Chips by Long Dog Samplers. And if you've not seen it before, this is what it looks like. It is my first Long Dog sampler. I'm really enjoying it. I do have this one on Pattern Keeper, which because I was having a lot of trouble in the page breaks, to be honest with you. So I am so grateful that it went in because I think I'd have stalled and not gotten quite so far on it. There it is. This is an 18 count. This was part of a blue-green pack for Black Friday last year from Dying for Cross Stitch. So maybe keep your eyes out. I don't know if she'll do something this year for Black Friday, but that's only, a month and a half away, really. And I liked the colors that came in the pack. But as soon as I saw this one, I knew this is what I wanted for Fish and Chips. And I might be I wouldn't have my device here with Pattern Keeper, but I might even be 60%, to be honest with you. I don't know where I think I've hit the 2 page breaks up here. And I'm on the bottom ones now. I am using DMC Floss in, I believe it's just Blanc. Yes, Blanc. And then I will use White Sulky for any of the back stitch. Because the Floss is a little thick on this 18 count to do back stitch. I'm doing 1 strand on the stitching and I really like it. But the back stitch, I tried it on this little butterfly here and it's definitely chunky. So I immediately switched over to some White Sulky. So yeah, so this one got its 500 stitches and it did get the full 500 this week. So you will see, I think I switch off on the Quakers between some of the bigger pieces. So you will see summer Quaker next. Now, one of the 4 pieces that I do, I am actually going to, not only is the full coverage a focus, I decided, okay, this is my birthday month. Let's pick something that I have been really enjoying stitching and also try to work on it every day. Maybe that'll change as the month goes on. Maybe I'll get tired of stitching it, but I thought I'd give it a try. And the one that I chose, because I've only just started it, but I really, really enjoy it, is Mary Poppins from Lena Ova. There's a hashtag Lena Ova Sal if you'd like to join us. And I am not stitching the outer border there. It's beautiful, but I just really love, love, love this part. So that takes off a huge amount of stitching, and to be honest with you, a huge amount, and makes this project a bit more manageable. I haven't marked it all off yet in Pattern Keeper, so I don't have any idea where I am, but I've been focusing on this block right here. And I just so enjoy it that and this one probably will stay at 100 a day versus my full coverage, which could get more. I'm going to try to do 100 a day, every day, which would get me about 3,100 stitches in the course of the month. That's not going to finish it, but I think it'll get a good chunk. Oh, I just so love that. I'm using, what am I using for? I'm using a DMC. What am I using? I don't want to say. I think I know, but then I'm not 100% sure. 939. And I am using 18 count Uranus from Under the Sea Fabrics. It was a fabric of the month. It's not available yet because it was a fabric of the month this year. But it is a gorgeous, I'm really hoping that she did, look at this. I'm hoping that she does put it in her regular line because it is a beautiful kind of bluish with gray tones. And I thought, Mary Poppins kind of, London-y-ish. It just felt right to me when I saw that. And so that's where I am. Anytime I have a U, and I did use it, there's a U in the acrostics this month for crafts and books, because the word is pumpkins, and umbrella is my U. And so the umbrella was already stitched, but I can pull this project out anytime I need to fulfill a U prompt. And so I did. So that's what it looks like. I have a little bit more, this will be kind of the Big Ben, right? And then over here is the edge of the Mary Poppins block. And then there'll be another block here. But I'm doing, again, you can see a combination of border than inside. Now with Pattern Keeper, do I have to worry so much? Not necessarily, but it's just the way my brain really likes it. I believe, no, I thought all the leaves were done, but there's a section right here that does have to get done yet too. So maybe I'll go back, kind of finish that, and then keep working. But just going back and forth with that. So yeah, so along with Minnie Watching the World, you will also get to see Mary Poppins every week, hopefully, if I've gotten a chance to stitch it. So, all right, let's put that over there. And then I have one last piece, and this one was a new start. If you watched my extra video this week where I talked about the pumpkin birthday stitch along, I talked about pieces that I'm carrying over from other years, as well as new starts. And so I got one new start in. I don't know if I'll new start all of the pieces, but they're there if I want to. And yeah, we'll go from there. I decided, because I had an idea of what color I wanted to do this on. I'm pretty much, for flosses, I'm pretty much doing DMC. Sometimes you'll see me throw in a variegated somewhere. I think I pulled all the DMCs for this, but I changed them. I have a tendency, this is from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. I really like her patterns, but her colors are sometimes a bit too prim for me. And I am not doing it on a neutral like this. So that was the other thing. I wanted to make sure what I chose, the colors would look good on. And so I was feeling a light purple for this. So I went through. This is an old fabric of the month from, I think it's 2020, from Color and Cotton. I'm long since out of their fabric of the month. I have no idea if this is something that can be got, but it's pretty actually. It's called Monster Mash. Clearly, it's been smushed already since I had ironed it. But that's where I am. So Sandy from Stitching by Sandy, hi Sandy, you're going to laugh at me because Sandy likes to say that she does her starts, she likes to get 200 stitches in. And I was trying to get my 200 in. I think I only got 100 and, oh, where is it? What did I get done on this one? New start. 153. So Sandy, I didn't quite do the 200 for a new start, but that's where I got. Now I'm trying to think what I changed. I probably changed the green because the greens, a lot of times, yes, I did. I changed the green. But you haven't gotten to that yet, so that doesn't matter. But I want to say these other two colors were part of the called for DMC alternative because it's charted in Classic Colorworks with DMC alternatives. If I end up changing something else, I'll let you know. But I think it's just the green. I threw the other colors on here, and I think they'll work nicely. I mean, it's only 4 colors. And that's 2 of the 4 right there. So that's what it looks like. I think this will be I won't get it done this month, but it'll be a pretty, on the quicker side. Sometimes these take me a little bit longer just because I change the colors. And sometimes I don't always pick right, and so then you're pulling stuff out and so on and so forth. But I think I've got it picked right there. We'll see. All right, so that is my stitching, all the projects that I stitched over the last 2 weeks. I don't know what my next start's going to be, but I'll probably, I don't know, I'll pull through and see whether, and I'll probably go back and forth between, I think there was, how many was there? There might have been 4. I think there was 4 that I'm carrying over, plus then the starts. I think there's more than 4 new starts. But I'll kind of go back and forth and at least once a week pull out one of the older ones as well. And so there'll be a lot of pumpkins you're going to see this October. I'm excited. So plans really, the pumpkin birthday stitch along. Again, if you're stitching, please let me know. I would love to see what you're stitching or hear about it. If you're carrying over, you don't have to start. Maybe you want to do a start. Maybe you're carrying over some old stuff. However it works for you is fine by me. You know me. I'm really mellow about all of that. Make it work for you. And that's what works for me. The different challenges. So I have I Spy. I Spy is already put out here in my book. And then I have acrostics from Magazine Monthly. And I have the acrostic from Crafts and Books. And then this month is a 24 hours across stitch. Megan might be down that weekend, which I think she was last time we had it too. So I might put that off a week and do 24 hours of cross stitch the week before Halloween because I don't think there's anything going on then. There must be a Whip Frenzy going on in Whip Warriors because I have that listed here. And then the day of the Chicago Marathon, I'm doing Andrew's challenge. And then Magazine Monthly has a week-long challenge. Oh my gourd. So I think I want to do that. And then I think there was at least one other one I was thinking about. I'm not 100% sure. There is a plethora of, if you like challenges, there's a plethora of games going on right now. Several people are doing different versions of Monopoly. Is it Crow Stitcher? Andy, I think. They started Clue. And so I'm going to put Crochet Stitcher down. If you're a big fan of Clue and you want to kind of do a game that way, go check out their channel because they explain it completely. And I've seen somebody else pick that up. It might be Siska. I'm going to put Siska down. Siska Stitches. She does a lot of games. And I think she might have started after being inspired with the Clue as well. So there's lots of different things. And I think she's doing a memory game. You know, there's tons. So if you are looking for challenges, they are there. And if you just like to follow along, that's good too. Sometimes people don't like to count or whatever. I like the challenges where I don't have to assign things ahead of time. And that's why I probably wouldn't play things like Monopoly or Clue, because you assign projects to the blocks and then you stitch on them that day. I like with these things, and even with AB Single, I didn't assign anything ahead of time. The day the letter was called, and then I decided what I was going to stitch. And I work really well that way. I would not like having that challenge tell me that day I have to stitch on that. Maybe that's where I would have ended up if I hadn't, but I just happen to like it this way. So you will see my challenges be a bit more open-ended. You could plan them all out. Once you get the I Spy, you could plan it out, all 10 prompts, what the projects are going to be, and then work on them in the course of the month. For me, I just like to ebb and flow with it, and whatever works, it works. And you never know, you'll be starting something or whatever, and then you pick something else up different. So that's my plans. Shopping. I do have some shopping today. I didn't have any last video. So if you do not want to see, I did get my fabric of the month from Stitch Me. It is a repeat, but I've been in her club for several years now. And I think she says every 18 months, because I'm in the color version, not the neutrals, there could be repeats. So that's fine. You know, I mean, if I'm going to be in for a period of time, and I like this color. So if you want to look away, I'm going to say the name, so you may recognize it anyway. But look away if you don't want to actually see it, and you wouldn't, maybe you don't know the color names yet. All right, you're not looking? Not looking? Okay, it's 18 count, and it's anemone. I love saying that word. It's I kind of say it like with the Muppets, right? How did the Muppet Show? Anemone. I don't know. That's what it looks like. You know me. I love this kind of color scheme for actually multiple types of seasons or holidays and things like that. So I'm excited to get some stitching done on that one. So that was the fabric of the month. I think that was the only one. I think Under the Sea skipped September. And then I had just joined last month Fabrics by Stephanie when she opened up hers, but the first one's not coming till October. So that was the only fabric of the month. I did pick up a few flosses from Stitchy Stuff Co. I picked because I was worried that I didn't have enough Kingfisher for the Peacock tree. So I picked some of that up. I'm not going to bother showing you that because I showed you that already. I picked up because I'm obsessed with, you can tell, I match my shirt. I'm obsessed with oranges of the fall. And this one's called Pumpkin Spice. Isn't that pretty? So I picked that up. And then this one, and I'm going to show you next to Pumpkin Spice, you can see. I did get a bigger batch of this as Terracotta. I just like the looks of that one. So if you put those next to each other, you can see. As this time of year that a lot of times I could totally see throwing in, especially with some of my pumpkins. Maybe for the Needle Art by Wendy, when I get to the pumpkin, I'll do one of these colors. And then, you know, I can't not get a blue. So I got Lunar Tide. Isn't that beautiful? Really, really pretty. Stitchy Stuff Co. is on Etsy. It's linked in the shopping section below. I did get my Just Cross Stitch 2024 special holiday Christmas issue. So that came in this week. And I did one look through already. I'm going to look through it a few more times, make my notes, and yes, we'll do a flip through. So we'll get a chance to talk about all the projects in this. And then yesterday, I had been meaning to go here. Oh, before I forget, I did pick up, and if you watch Helen D, she talked about this because I asked her, should I get the paper version or the digital? And she suggested the digital because there's a lot of full coverage, especially up here. But I did pick up Witch's Hollow from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This was in a box last year, and I was waiting for them to release it because I didn't get the box. And so as soon as they released the digital version, I snapped that up. And if you're wondering, it goes beautifully into Pattern Keeper. It's already in there. I'm thinking this is going to be my birthday start. I did have this fabric from Those Missing Stitches. It's called Genuine Jillian. I have one other fabric coming, and I'm going to compare the two. This is not probably, it's washing out a little bit. It's a little darker in person than it's showing. I don't know if I go close on the camera. It's not as dark as this one though, but I'm curious. I have one more thing that should be here before my birthday because my birthday's not till near the end of the month. And I'm really hoping to be able to start this on my birthday. So if you want to stitch this one along with me, I'm starting it October 23rd. Alrighty. And then, okay, so that was that before I told my story. Yesterday was a beautiful day. And so I said to Mo, late afternoon, what's it looking like at work? And he said, it's looking pretty good. And Mo works from home, so he can go in early on a day. He can take a little time and then work later in a night and kind of work things around. So he's like, I have a little bit of time. I said, oh, maybe we can go downtown to the beach. And I had been trying to, I knew this store was here for quite some time, but I'd never gotten there. Downtown Rehoboth, there's actually a needlepoint store. So there's no cross stitch patterns or anything like that. It's needlepoint canvases and things like that. But they do have quite a bit of threads. And I wanted to see what they had for threads. So it's called Stitch Stash. That's the card right there. And they have two, ironically, they have two places. One is in Rehoboth Beach and one is in Darien, Connecticut, which is funny. I mean, Darien was completely quite a drive from where I lived in Connecticut, but they have shops in the two states that I've recently lived in. So if you're anywhere near Darien, Connecticut, there's a Stitch Stash there. I don't know what it looks like, but the one in Rehoboth Beach, it's cute. It's on one of the kind of perpendicular streets to the main street, and it was bright and airy, had beautiful needlepoint samples and everything, but then they had a whole bunch of threads. I didn't go crazy. I didn't buy much, but I wanted to try a few more of the Silk Lame Petites because I really liked that lemon. So I picked up, we're kind of in a Halloween theme. I picked up black, and it has just a very subtle sparkle. There were other versions of black that were way more sparkly, but I decided I wanted that one. And then it's funny, this is called Dark Something, but the label didn't get it all. It's SP62, but that's what it looks like right there. And then they had a whole room of just sparkly stuff, or several walls of sparkly stuff. And so I was just looking, and I have never heard of this before. Soft Sheen Fireworks. Let me show you. And this color doesn't say, but it's FT55. I didn't get to the color. And again, all of these, I look up here and it says cross stitch 11 to 22 count. So I said, okay. But what's really neat about this is it's thick. Can you see that? So I'm thinking this would be really cool if I wanted to do something as a border on like my scrapbook stuff or my trading cards. Or I was thinking, wouldn't this be kind of cute as a hanger? And it's a sparkly hanger as opposed to just straight ribbon and things like that. I might, if I do the raven, this might be a kind of a cool hanger to put with that piece. So I'm going to see. I'm going to play around with it. Figured, I'll see what to do with it. It's got great sparkle. It's kind of a bluish black, one of those kind of colors, but definitely a lot thicker than I was anticipating. I had pulled it out and I was like, oh, that's different, but I'm willing to give it a try. And then they have a whole wall of threadworks, and you can see I'm again influenced by this time of year. No, this just doesn't have a name. It's just numbers. But I picked up that one. Again, I have about every type of pumpkin variation or fall variation that you can imagine. And this one's kind of fall-like, but it's a little bit more red. So I thought that was kind of cool. That would go with this flower up here. I wasn't wearing this yesterday. I should have just wore this. So I picked both those two colors up. So I am sure now that I've been there and there's so much pretty stuff, I think I would just go and like pick stuff to play with is pretty much the way I'm going to treat that store. So Mo's probably not going to like that I actually tried it out. But it was beautiful yesterday. It was beautiful down by the beach. Alrighty, so that's my shopping. Giveaway. So, oh yes, it's been a couple weeks, right? I was giving away a $10 gift card to Fat Quarter Shop, and I asked you to say the word leaves. And our winner is, I don't have shoes on this morning, and I had one foot on my bad toe, and my toe's bothering me now. That wasn't really very smart, was it? My winner was L Bacon 4169. So if you could get back to me with your email address. I have no idea how Fat Quarter Shop does their gift cards. Whether they send me a code and I give it to you, or 123 Stitch, they just ask you your email and then they email it directly. So we'll see. But Lorraine, if you could, I think it's Lorraine. I'm not 100% sure now. L Bacon. If it's Lorraine, my brain, I'm really proud of my brain. If it's not, I'm so sorry. If you get back to me with your address on that. And then this week, I was I'm getting excited about the Jingle Ball. And so I decided, well, one of the, not everybody does gift cards, but one of the vendors that is doing gift cards is, that does gift cards is Satsuma Street. So how fun would it be to do a $15 gift card to Satsuma Street? And I think I have one of her actual, they're like the Mill Hills, right? The kits that are the ornaments. I have one, but I haven't tried it yet. But she just, I love the bright colors. Speaking of Helen, if you have watched her latest channel, Flosstube, I'm going to link her. She finished the Stitch Along, the Halloweenish one, and has it framed, and it's gorgeous. You have to go watch the video if you haven't seen it yet. So maybe that's something. What I'm going to do, in honor of the fact that Satsuma Street will be at the Jingle Ball, if you say the word jingle, I will put your name in for a gift card, $15 gift card to Satsuma. 2 weeks from today is the day when tickets go on sale for Jingle. So we'll talk about that when it comes up. But if you do say the word jingle, I will put your name in for the giveaway next time I have a video. Alrighty, so that's that. We're not doing too bad, actually. There was a lot to talk about with my stitching, but I felt like I tried to keep it moving because I was afraid this would be a 2-hour video. So we're doing good. So we have time for a little bit of life stuff. I wasn't sure we would. When I saw you and talked to you last for Flosstube, Megan and Liz were coming down that night, and so they did. They came down 2 weekends ago and spent the weekend. Had so much fun. Saturday downtown as a fundraiser for our fire departments or volunteer, and so they do fundraisers that we like to support. And so there was they call it a brew fest. It's basically like beer tasting kind of event kind of thing. So they had that downtown, and so we went, and we had so much fun. I don't like hoppy beers and the dark beer. I'm a little picky, but it's fun talking to the different people and the brewers, and you try things. I mean, if you take a sip, you don't like it, they have the places where you can just get rid of it and try something else. I like sours, but not super sour. And some of them have milk in them, so I have to avoid them because I don't do milk. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And my favorite, for all of my friends who may be living somewhere in and among Hershey, Pennsylvania, there was a brewery there that I believe it's called Trogue. And that was my all-time favorite. They got the little, they have little things that you can, say what your favorite is. And I don't know if they've announced them who won what, but that was my favorite. There was one, it's not a sour and it's not a beer. It's fruit something, spiked fruit something. And they had a peach one and they had a black cherry. And we decided that the black cherry, I liked both of them. The black cherry kind of tasted like Dr. Pepper, actually, to be honest with you. But if you're in the Pennsylvania area and you want to try something fruity, I would say try Trogue. And ironically enough, that same weekend, it was a busy day because I think there was a walk that morning, a charity walk. So downtown Rehoboth was rocking. And then this was the second year that they did a Mrs. Roper romp downtown. And if you're of my generation, you know who Mrs. Roper was. Megan and Liz had no idea because I don't think you can even see reruns of Three's Company anymore. But Mrs. Roper was a character on Three's Company. And so there was several, it's basically a bar crawl. I mean, let's be honest with it, bar hop kind of thing. But you dress up with a red curly wig and you wear some sort of caftan. I think that's what they were called. And you kind of go to different places around downtown, have different specials and things like that. And, I mean, everybody is friendly. And okay, if it's near the end, they're probably really friendly because they've probably had a few drinks. But everybody's really friendly and it's just fun and just lighthearted. And so it was a really great day to be downtown. There was a lot going on and it was just a lot of fun. And then the next day before they went back up to Pennsylvania, we went down to Bethany Beach, and then, which was a beautiful day. The beach was really in. I haven't been able to walk on the sand since I've broken my toe, so I wouldn't have been able to anyway, but I want to say that the beach, I don't think there was a way you could go onto the beach almost. The waves were literally, high tide was almost right where you'd be going. But, you know, we walked there for a little bit, and then we took them to Ocean City for our favorite Thai restaurant. Because, you know, good Thai food, oh, that's our favorite. So that was our visit with them. Then Mo and I, we had our anniversary, and we didn't do much then because we knew we were going away. And we drove up to Woodstock Sanctuary. Is not quite in the town of Woodstock. It's probably about a half an hour from Woodstock. But they have a small little, they call it the Gray Barn. It's a small little B&B. I think there's 5 rooms. And so we got a room at the B&B at the sanctuary. And when you do that, you can walk, you can't go into the pens like but with the animals. But an animal sanctuary is a place where animals can go to live out their lives peacefully, whether they have been runaways from the animal agriculture industry. Sometimes they're given up because they're injured and they're no use to the animal industry, or whatever that happens to be. And so the sanctuary takes them in, helps them, and, you know, makes life pleasant for them, and so on and so forth. And then some days of the week, the farm is open to visitors. But if you stay at the barn, you can walk throughout the farm whenever you want. You have like a special lanyard for it. And you can go into the different barns or whatever, and you can pet the animals and things like that, but you can't go into the pens for their safety and yours, of course. But it was so peaceful. We missed the changing of the leaves probably about 2-3 months. You saw just a hint of change of leaves. It would be gorgeous, I imagine, a few weeks from now when the leaves have all changed. But the B&B was lovely. Everybody staying there was really nice. Because it's an animal sanctuary, the breakfasts or anything they put out for snacks is all vegan. They even ask you, because there's a refrigerator where you can bring food and keep it there. They ask you not to bring anything that is not vegan into the facility at all, because of obviously that's their an animal sanctuary is protecting animals. But we just, it was so peaceful walking around. You'd hear the animals. Some of them obviously are shyer and don't want to talk to people, but some of them are so social, and the second you walk by, they come over and they want to be petted. And the goats were our particular favorite. There was a few that they're just like dogs. I mean, they come up and they nudge your hand, and if you're not petting them, but then they want to be scratched behind the ear, and they're just such lovely animals, and they were just wonderful. We saw a cute little animal, Remy. He had lost 2 of his legs, and his back legs, and they had a special apparatus set up for him, and we got to see them put him in it, where he can run around because he's got the back is wheels, and he uses his front legs to move, and so he can just zip all around. There was another little tiny goat that had 3 legs that just goes on itself without any apparatus. It was just really amazing. They have goats, sheep. There was 2 sheep that were like nuzzling each other. It was adorable. Pigs, cows, ducks, geese, turkeys, all that. And it was just, if you are a particular animal lover, I would recommend it. It's a beautiful area. We did go into the town of Woodstock for dinner on one night and lunch the following day. And Woodstock is a lovely little town. I'd never been to Woodstock, New York. There is a restaurant there called Garden Cafe, which is completely plant-based. So if you are in that area, that's what the B&B had recommended, and they were top-notch. I would totally recommend it if you want to give them a try and you're up in that area. We didn't get a chance to. We drove through New Paltz, which is on the other side. You know, if you were to, I don't know. I'm in just the way we drove through New Paltz to get to the sanctuary, and then we went the other direction to go to Woodstock. I have no idea on a map what they look like. That looked really cute too. If we had had another day, we probably would have gone in there and walked around there. But really lovely time, and it was great to get away. And I think we both we needed that, and we really, really enjoyed ourselves. So we did that, and what else? Oh, I did go to the orthopedist this week. You'll be happy to know that my fracture is completely healed. She took one more x-ray and she said, I can't even see where the fracture was. I still have to be careful. As you can tell, I was putting weight on that toe and it was aching. So I still have to watch what I'm doing. I don't have to wear shoes every second of the day anymore. But she said, if you do too much or wear very unsupported shoes, you will pay for it and feel it. But because it's completely healed, there's not a chance of me like walking and re-breaking the bone because the bone has healed. So that's good news. Yay. So I'm still, I'm still trying to be careful. I had wore shoes up here, but then sitting here, I went barefoot because I love to be barefoot. But I will put my shoes back on as soon as I get up, I promise. And so that was good news. And I went, and also my vitamin D, I had a physical this week, and my doctor had put me on a different regimen of vitamin D, and you'll be happy to know we got it. We really jumped it up. I was at really low, particularly not great levels. And after 3 months of doing what my current doctor, I had changed doctors, my current doctor had recommended, I jumped up significantly. He was very pleased to see those numbers. I also did get my COVID shot booster, so I was a little worried about today that, because the last few, I would feel like a little under the weather, but except for a sore arm for a day or two, I didn't get any other otherwise I wouldn't have known. Like the last time I had probably 2-3 days, I was like, felt like I'd had, like a cold, had a fever, was kind of cold and hot and all that, and just snuffly and all that, but I didn't feel anything this time. So luckily I was like, oh boy, hopefully I didn't time this where then I couldn't film because, I hadn't filmed last week, but everything is good with that. So it was a crazy busy week coming back. So I know there's things that I need to respond to. My Facebook page, if you've posted, I have seen, but haven't been able to like sit down on my phone. Responding on my phone just doesn't work very well. I like to do it either with my iPad or the laptop. So I have so much to go through and respond to people. But keep posting your projects. They're beautiful. I love seeing them. And yeah, that's about it. We did have book club this week too. And None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell was the book. I had told you I was going to be reading it. It's funny. I have such mixed feelings about it. I don't know if you've read it. I'm not going to give anything away. It's a psychological thriller. I have to say, I really didn't like the characters, which skews me because do you not like a book because you don't like the characters? That was kind of a discussion, right? It's a very quick read. It was well written. It catches and grips your attention and you want to find out what happens. But I felt like yucky after reading it. I don't know. But the fact that I don't like the characters doesn't mean that the book wasn't a good book. Do you know what I mean? So if you like psychological thrillers, I sort of saw some things, but I didn't see everything. It definitely had some twists and some turns. And I'd be curious what you thought of it if you did read it. It was definitely one of those books that there was quite a bit of discussion at our book club for it because there was a lot to talk about. I don't know what next month's book is yet. I'll have to see. And then if you have Apple TV, Slow Horses is what we're watching. Mo and I are watching right now. It is season 4. We've really enjoyed it. It carries on from year to year, but each season, the storyline arc finishes. And then, where these characters are and so on and so forth continues each season. They're part of MI5. But the arc and the story will, wrap up at the end of the year. So if you happen to end up with Apple at some point, I would completely recommend it. I think it's Gary Oldham is kind of that main character, and he is phenomenal. I think it's Kristen Scott Thomas is also in it. Well done, interestingly written. It's a little violent here and there, to be aware of that. And language, it's not too bad. It's a little salty. But we've really enjoyed it. Right now, they're dropping an episode a week, so we can't do them all at once. I think there's only, each season might only have like 6 episodes. So there's only probably 1 or 2 left of this season. But I would recommend that. That would be my TV show recommendation for this week. Alrighty. That's about it, I think. So yay, we're going to come in at a little under an hour and a half if I don't talk too much here at the end. If you are here still, thank you so much for sticking with me and listening to all of my fun stuff. Or I think fun stuff. I don't know if anybody else does. I hope you got lots of stitching in. If you're stitching, or maybe you're cleaning or making dinner or whatever you happen to be, I hope it was productive. And getting your stitching done is productive because remember what I tell you, you are important, and what feels good and makes you happy is important too. So take that time. Remember you give so many people, we all give so much of ourselves a lot of times that we sometimes forget about that we need that special time too. So take that. You are important. All right. That's about it. I have no idea what's going on this weekend. I have no idea what my future plans are. I'm just taking it day by day. But yeah, let me know if you're doing a pumpkin birthday stitch and what's going on with you. If you've got any fun challenges or things you're doing. Oh, you know what? I'll show it next week. I did get something for my next year's challenges, a new book. And so I'll show that next week. So I'll just, because this is this year's. We're jazzing it up a little bit more next year. All right. So I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. And I'll talk about these maybe next. Well, I talked about this one. I'll talk about this next week and maybe have something different there. Because it's time to wrap things up and say goodbye. So until next time, happy stitching.